sources of information about wild plants that labeled some as not completely inedible, not full, like somewhat edible or like not recommended. There are people that cook and consume those foods. Not recommended, meaning that it's not non-toxic, but there are people that are like, "Oh, I eat those." Like, where you know, the example I want to give is crow's poison. When you're looking for an onion that doesn't taste oniony, well, I don't know what he was looking for. I don't know why he likes it, but it's something that you find when you're looking for a air potato, a tuber, an edible tuber. And one of the ways that you know that it's not the edible tuber is that an onion is not a tuber. So when he's looking for, I guess he got so good at looking for distinguished characteristics between, Star of Bethlehem flowers and another look-alike that has the same number of petals as the imposters. I mean, the same number of petals as the air potato, the fairy potato. You have to delineate and distinguish this. It's not what you're looking for. So, but it's an imposter. So what's different, right? It might have a tuber, right? But it has leaves that are lobed, like earlobes, like 3 earlobes at the end. And you can describe the air potato as having grassy like leaves, but then there's like, it is not like take its chromosome seriously or something. There's so many variants in one, even in the same species, that when you find the ones with 5 leaves, sometimes there's 4 regular leaves and a 5th leaf that looks like it's like trying to become 2 leaves. Or every now and then you see one that has 6 petals, not leaves, petals. Or then, so I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm gonna poison myself with an imposter. But you dig it up and it's an onion, and you're looking for a tuber. That's a safe zone. So like you're in a safe zone. Like when you make enough distinctions between a potential toxic plant and the one you're looking for, then you find out something about these groupings of genus groupings that you'll start to narrow it down to characteristics where even if you find something new, if it meets this and that and this criteria, it's edible. If it meets that and this criteria, you won't poison yourself. It's impossible, you know. No, like how you get there. I mean, I can't tell you, like, because you glean insights from places I can predict where you're gonna get it from. But the reason I'm so interested in potatoes right now, the plant with the most variability, even within a single genus of species, that saved us one time before in famine. And now that we're realizing that there's all this food growing all across the country that doesn't even need to be, it doesn't, you know how like you can't cultivate matsutake mushrooms, but this thing, right, is doing fine without any help. And there are some tubers that grow the same size as small potatoes with double the nutritional value because it's wild. The roots grows deeper into the ground, and when you eat local wild plants, it's kind of like plant stratify. it boosts your immune system to local or like regional illnesses or toxins or like amoebas and like things that make people sick in that area. You wonder how you get like immune to those things. It is not like because you have extra special genes. It's because you're eating the foods that grow geospecifically located. They're balancing their their immunity, and then so by eating those, you're balance your immunity to the local pathogens and shit like that. It almost seems like magic. So whatever. So there's between that and acorns, these two most underutilized food sources, right? I mean, because like processing them or something, like we walk and step over it, and we like it's how we say like there's so abundance of food out there going wild that we don't even know about. Like we always, oh yeah, whatever, okay, I believe you, I agree, but it's real. I'm gonna read a list of, I was just looking in my own area, and if I just tell you a plant doesn't mean that you can go off the top and eat it. You don't know which parts you have to eat, you don't know what season you have to eat, you don't know what procedures or some processes that you have to do, like there's like, but there's products, materials, medicine, tea, cordage, like there's like all these kind of things. It just basically opens up doors and opportunities for you in places that normally people would not thrive. Just by knowing these things doesn't mean it's a key to survival. It just means that you're one step closer to autonomy. So this is just Northern California. And there's a difference between the Pacific Northwest, the mountains, right? Or the Pacific Northwest with the temperate rainforest, or the area that's like in the San Joaquin Valley, or the area that's on the other side of the Sierra Nevadas. Those are like, but just in my area, right? Like, and you can also look for noxious, invasive, edible species to help out. So I'm looking to propagate wild potatoes to kind of help them out. And then also store up, like you can make long-term storage, of not just foods that are like a component of a balanced diet, but a core food like acorns. Or even though air potatoes taste just the same as regular potatoes, like they have all of the nutritional value of plants that we have been mass farming for so long, 100 years, whatever, and it's all chemically induced, and like at different points is the problem to grow a tomato the size of your head, or to do a little bit of like work with like breaking off the fibers around a tuber? It would be social, and you can have conversations and while you're doing that, and so it's like we already do that on the natural. It's not like going to be a hardship or anything to have that, and it's going to bring it all back. Like all the old, like you got to use the internet right now, but all right. So just like in the area, Northern California, there's salsify, chickweed, purple vetch, wild peas, pine nuts, pine pollen protein shake mix. Basically, you shake. There's one kind of long needle pine that doesn't have like hard pine cones, but it's this stuff you shake it, and the powder that comes off is protein. It's give me a fucking break. You don't know that you'll just die. You'll starve. Like you can eat just protein and still become gaunt and lose weight, or or even worse is like people is just stocked up on like rice and lentils. You can actually die of hunger with a full belly, and even though you're hungry, your brain will tell you you can't eat anymore. So, or like there's like levels of planning. There's phases like where if the first time you realize that fucking the train or the car or something broke down and you have to spin like, or it was on fire or something, like now you have to look for something. The first thing you do is build a bed 18 inches above the ground. You don't build a shelter. You don't need a roof. You know, you need a buttress against the wind or things that are like constantly taking temperature away, and you need to be above the ground, and you can go without food for 2 weeks. So the first thing you need is a bed before water. Like then you build your bed so you can survive the night. Water, you take 2 days to die. Work your water situation out between that time frame. Then you can still go longer without food. So then you need to battle the elements with a shelter. Then you have the shelter. Then, I mean, you know, something that's not something that has a fucking 90-degree angle roof or an air gap in the wall, or some things that work with the rules of ventilation, convection, and induction, no, conduction and convection. And there's another one. I mean, there's just I don't know how it would be interesting. So salsify, chickweed, purple vetch, wild peas, pine nuts, young maple leaves in a certain season. Yeah, I told you about pine pollen. Fool's onion, Oregon sunshine, which is like a sunflower aster, currant, Siberian miner's lettuce, false Solomon seal, which is like asparagus, wood sorrel, clover, violet. Okay, not some flowers you can't eat. Like there's one that's poisonous. Like I can't remember which one, but it sounds like if you're gonna eat violets, can you eat freaking daffodils? Daffodils toxic. Yucca. You can yucca make materials, cordage, like. Some of them are medicine. They're also somewhat edible. So, like, if it's somewhat edible, a lot of times it's along the lines of medicine. If it's toxic, it's on the lines of medicine, but it's just how you use it. It's like if you can climb a freaking 150-foot pine madrone. Douglas fir tips. You can eat the tips of Douglas fir trees. Pineapple weed. That's tea. Yeah, these are the tea plants. Any kind of berry. That's not poisonous, all right? If you want to make soap, you want to make cord, smoke meat preserves, like arrows, bows, like all that. Like, it's just a learning, it's a knowledge curve, and then you got to practice. So you don't thrust yourself in a situation where, like, okay, I got this written down, I know what to do. You have to practice everything. Medicinal horsetail, like rose petals, can you make band-aids? Like there's wild rose petals that they don't have a whole bunch of leaves, they're just like one layer, but they're like heirloom roses or something. They're like edible. Yeah, they have like a tea that you can make with rose hips that will lower your HDL. Narrow leaf plantains for disinfectant, yarrow disinfectant, mullein for toilet paper, stinging nettle. You can even use mullein seeds, crush them up, throw them into a body of water. All the fish will get stunned. all the fish will get stunned. Now, Native Americans didn't do that often, right? Because like it would limit the species, it would dominate the species and over hunt it. But they every now and then, just like there's regulation on what kind of freaking fish traps that and all kind of shit, right? Plantain is another one. Like it's a food, but it's also a band-aid or something. Dandelion, like the things that are bitter are good for your organs. So like, but things that taste good doesn't mean that it's not poison. Yerba buena, thimbleberry, huckleberry, yeah, honeysuckles. There's poison, but they're invasive. But there's also some, like a lot of these honeysuckle berries are poison. But then there's some thing that's like edible on it. Like it's just a whole bunch of learning curve. Chokeberries, which looks like something that you shouldn't eat. Even when you research, the chokeberries looks like something that could pass as, like there's the chokeberries and then there's the what do they call them? Choke cherries. Choke berries and choke cherries growing close to each other, right? They're both edible. But then there's one that's like a different, like that. All of the imposters were said that these are poison. There's one that is like a new imposter that looks like it, or an imposter that isn't poison or something. Like you never know. This shit takes more, and it's like you can't just think that you already have all the knowledge that you need, because I could find enough food, like wild ginger, wild strawberry, Russian olives, purslane. Russian olives shouldn't be over here in this area, but no, they are though. But I was thinking, like, there's a lot of things that look like olives that are poisonous, right? Wild celery, radish, mustard greens. Radish is wild. You can, like, some of them you have to boil, like milkweed or something. The pods, or the stalks is like asparagus. Cattails is a trip, because cattails is like, you can cook the roots. The tail part, you can use it as a component of a water filter, along with like ashes. Not ashes. Sorry, charcoal. Crushed charcoal and sand. I mean, that'd be a better water filter than just pebbles and sand and charcoal. Throw a layer of cattails in there. Like, who knows? You're better off for that. Because even with all the survival knowledge, you still could die. Like, I'm not going to do survival. I was going to do foraging. Professional, actually, foraging. Masatake mushroom, selling it to the Japanese. You got to know a couple of toilet papers, like burlap or. Okay, so there's processes that you can make, like long storage, like so you're never hungry, and that's the thing. Like, never being hungry doesn't mean just eating a bunch of rice and lentil, because you can die with your stomach full, and you can get to the point with just eating those incomplete proteins that your brain will tell you that not to eat, even when you're hungry. That's crazy. Burdock is edible. Okay, smart weed. They have smart weed. Like sorrel that you have to boil, or you have to dry the roots, right? Because it has this calcium that is toxic. Mountain sorrel. You don't have to do nothing to that. Like, it's like a relative to like some kind of clover or something, maybe. Silverberry, that's invasive, that you're invited to eat it, right? They're supposed to be sweeter when you find them wild. Like, things might be smaller, or require more work, but the taste is better. Like, you'll like, it's like more chi balancing. We come alive, Yellow tips of young Oregon grape leaves, not just the grapes, which looks like holly, which would be scary to eat a blue berry that comes from a holly plant. Okay. just the mushrooms in the Pacific Northwest that you can eat, and this is not even all of them. Boletus italis, the king bolete, Boletus fibriosus, fib king, golden chanterelle, white chanterelle, winter chanterelle. There's even a, like, when they say that there's 3, there's like 4 or 5 or something. Oh, fuck. Blackout. Shaggy mane. Bluets. When I was looking for, back in the day when I was looking for psychedelic, I knew that all mushrooms that are blue are not, you know. Like, every time you crush it and you think it's blue, you think that's going to be, like, okay. But it had to have, like, a cinnamon or cinnamon crimson to crimson colored sport print and crushed blue. Then it doesn't matter if you couldn't identify the whole species, it's not going to kill you. It's still toxic, but by saying it's toxic, that form of media that tells you, like, sometimes that it's not recommendable might just be playing it safe, you know. And then it requires somebody to actually show you them frying it up in a pan and saying, I'm alive. And then they're like, oh yeah, okay. Because you're not, you know, like, yeah, you could still get fucked up, but somebody could still show you something that you think you would die if you did that. But there's a guy that can eat the death cap angel, because apparently some people are immune to the poison of the death cap. And how do you find out that you're one of those people? There's bluets. They have a pink beige purple. Okay. Tastes like orange, fruity, floral. A fruity orange flavored floral mushroom? What the fuck? Or some of them smell like fucking ocean, like seafood. Shrimp mushroom, lobster mushroom. So the imposter to lobster mushroom tastes like peppery or something. I would have thought it would taste more like musky, you know, like old socks. But that's the Masatake, but it's a spice, dirt spice or something. Honey mushroom, angel wing mushroom, morels, bear's head, Berkeley polypore that I just showed up in Berkeley. It was always here. But I mean, it sounds like it was named after Berkeley, the city. But then it just arrives like in Berkeley, like, oh, we're here now. And the chanterelles are down here now too. They didn't always have chanterelles in Santa Rosa, or like something like Sebastopol or something like. Then they just all show up. You can't cultivate them, so it's not a fucking human mishap. Like, we're not introducing spores. The spores are all over the world and just don't cultivate where they just don't propagate where they don't want to. Like the same spores, because they travel in wind vectors, and they're just, you got to imagine that the spores for every fungus is just in the atmosphere. It's just in the fucking air. And then it just chooses conditions where. So, foraging for uncultivatable Masatake, that's like a grind. The people are 90% of the foraged mushrooms are getting sold. Like, there's some that are $100 a mushroom, but I think those are the ones that the Japanese have, right? Then there's a season and a hustle from something wild coming from, like, all the time. It's just a knowledge thing. I just don't know. So a long time ago, I would have gone up there a long time ago. What's the thing though? Helping fairy potatoes or Western fairy potatoes. What's their scientific name? Claytonus or something. Claytonia. There's that is such an interesting subject. There's freaking wild potatoes. The edible tumors, like, okay, tubers, edible tumors. Just thinking like, oh, you go out there and because I know how to build a hut or something, I'm gonna hide myself away or something. Like, you would freeze to death. You just wouldn't wake up. You would go to sleep confident. The fire would burn out, and then your light would burn out. You would be a goner. It's like, I don't know how people could be doing prepping, survival, and not interested in a fucking tuber and a fucking potato.